So this is a Pierburg 2E2 carburetor. The engine is cold, the choke is on, and I'm going to show you the cold start procedure, the proper workings of this carburetor. You will see how it's supposed to be working on the cold start, and I'll tell you about the three main components that are influencing the work of this carburetor and how to diagnose your problems and fix them. So first we're gonna start with the choke. That's the choke. It stays like this when the engine is cold. You can set your choke through here when you spin this, but as the engine was working like many years, it kind of set it itself, and it's not really that important because the choke goes down after a couple of minutes of work. What you want to check for the choke is the auto choke mechanism here. This should get hot like in about 5 minutes of the engine working. This should get quite hot. If this is not getting hot, the choke is staying on, which is bad. If this is not getting hot, that means your coolant flow through those lines, this and this, it's bad, and you should check your coolant flow or do a coolant flush. First we're gonna talk about the TTV unit, which is the thermal valve something, I don't know, it's called a TTV. That's this here is the TTV unit, this, the whole thing. Back here, there, right here, you see it in the middle of the screen, that's a 30mm screw, and by this screw you are controlling the engine revs, like the idle revs of the engine when it's hot. So when the engine is cold and not working, this should be touching, so the pin that's pushing out should be touching this screw. They should be touching like this. Do you see? When the engine starts up, this pin gets sucked in there from the vacuum of the engine, and what it does is it gives a little bit of gas. You see, when it's all the way out, when the engine is cold, it gives a bit of gas, and after a couple of seconds it drops down. Like this. Like I've shown you, and when it drops, this should still be touching that, like just a little bit touching it. If it's not, you should adjust it by turning this screw with some pliers. Adjust it, like turn it you know, like a normal screw. It should be touching. When it's touching, you can be able to control the idle rev, because you'll be turning the 30mm screw in the back. When you turn it, these will control the revs. If it's not touching though, it will do anything at all. It won't do anything. So you should make sure this is touching if it's not adjusted. And when you turn on the ignition, this should make a click. You should make a click sound. When you turn the key in the ignition, it makes a click. If it's not making a click, that means it's not working, and you're gonna have problems with the cold starts. To check if it's not working, you should go to the fuse box and check fuse number, I don't know, it's written on the box. So the fuse of the TTV, it's written. You should check if this fuse is okay. If it's okay, then you probably have a faulty TTV, which is very bad. It's hard to find. Now, that was the second component, the TTV, and basically I've shown you when you start the engine, this is revving high, then the vacuum sucks it in, and it's revving normal, and you can adjust it by the 13mm screw with the 13mm wrench from the back. It's pretty simple. Now the third unit that is causing also a lot of problems in people's carburetors is the waxtat. This is the waxtat. It's called a waxtat because there is wax in it that is pushed when the engine gets hot. It's pushed in, and by this pin extending, it drops your engine revs. That's why your engine is revving high when it's cold, and then it drops. So I'm gonna show you with another video. Basically, the waxtat is controlling this arm. As you can see, when the engine is cold, this arm is pointing in a little bit down. It should be pointing up, like 90 degrees. You understand me? Yes. And by the, let me show you. You saw when you push this, like I showed in the video, when you push it upwards, like up, the engine revs drop, and you can actually choke the engine. You can kill it with this. So basically this, you see, it's like down and it should be up, you know. If when the engine is hot, this is not absolutely up like 90 degrees, then your waxtat has fallen. And the way you can fix it is by, you're just gonna unscrew those bolts, those two bolts, this and this. You're gonna get it out of the hoses, the coolant hoses. You want to check also if there is coolant flowing here. This should also get hot. You should be able to get the coolant flow, and when you get this out, take it, put it in boiling water, and what this will do, this will show you if it's working. When you put it in boiling hot water, the pin will extend, and this shows that you have a working waxtat. And sometimes this can even fix it. When you put it in boiling water, if it was not working, you can just fix it this way magically. I don't know how, but it works. So basically, these are the three units controlling the carburetor. And of course, the screw up here is about air fuel mixture. You turn it clockwise to make it lean, and anti-clockwise to make it rich. So basically, that's the whole function of the carb. And basically, when you start up the engine, when you start it up, it should rev high. I don't know how high because I don't have an odometer. It should rev high, and then after a couple of seconds drop, because this is extending, the TTV is extending and pushing backwards. And then after a couple more minutes, the choke should go down and this should get hot, and the waxtat should also get hot and function correctly. So I'm no expert, but this is how the carburetor works and what is worked for me and how I fixed mine. I had a high revving problem, and this is how I fixed it, by adjusting those three components. I hope this video helped you. If you have any questions, you can write in the comments. People say it's unreliable, they'll be swapping it with Weber carburetors, but why would you just fix this one? It's not that hard, and when it's working properly, it's actually pretty well working carburetor. Hope this helped you guys. Bye bye.